We are wading through the noise of what might be the biggest, wildest trade rumor to hit the NBA this season. And, this isn't just smoke. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Not at all. We've taken all the source material, the videos, the transcripts, all that frantic online discussion, and what we have is an extraordinarily complex three-way trade proposal.
And if it actually happens.
Well, if it happens, this move doesn't just adjust a few rotations. It's a full-scale emergency reconstruction, especially for the team right at the center of the storm, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay, so that's the core of this deep dive then. We have this very specific, really intricate proposal. It involved the Lakers, the Miami Heat, and the Memphis Grizzlies. We're talking massive contracts, generational talents, draft picks.
And the mission for us is clear. We have to look past the flashy names and really understand the internal pressure. Why is a move this audacious, this almost desperate, necessary right now?
Exactly. What are the deep cracks showing in that Lakers foundation that would require them to even consider, reorganizing three separate franchises just to stay relevant?
It's a huge question. And to even justify trading away this much and bringing in so many unknowns, a team must be facing a real structural failure.
This feels less like standard business and more like a club hitting a crisis point. The urgency is just palpable.
It is. And the moment that really crystallized this was that recent loss against the Spurs.
Oh, that was rough. It wasn't just a competitive defeat, it was a visible dismantling.
Yeah.
We're talking about a veteran team that looks completely disjointed.
Right. And when a team with championship hopes gets taken apart by a rebuilding squad, that's not just bad luck, it's an indictment of the internal structure, of the accountability.
So let's spotlight those symptoms, because they were all on display. First, the defense is it's unreliable. We read accounts describing it as a guard cutting like a hot knife through butter. I mean, that suggests the core defensive communication is just dissolved.
There's no trust in this game. And that leads directly to the next failure, the inconsistency, specifically in their effort.
Yeah, the energy, the commitment, that defensive stance we saw earlier in their success, it just appears and disappears at random.
It makes the whole team feel incredibly fragile. They can't withstand even small runs from opponents.
And the crucial part is, this instability is being masked, and often successfully, by the sheer brilliance of LeBron James.
For sure. He can still deliver these MVP-level moments, but those individual flashes are now hiding these deep, persistent structural weaknesses.
Which undermines the whole project.
And you know what's fascinating? It's the psychological toll that takes. Veterans know that flashes of confidence are basically meaningless without daily, consistent accountability.
They need structure, not just a loud shout after a big play.
Exactly. They need a reliable, professional defensive structure. Players who show up every single night, who dominate their position, and who don't break under pressure.
The source material even brought up a specific player archetype they're missing, using Herb Jones as an example of that defensive specialist they need.
Yes, that's it. We're talking about players who can consistently, tolerate the opposing star's ways without batting an eyelid. They need specialists who aren't just chasing highlight blocks.
So the big picture is the team's relying on individual talent, this fleeting brilliance, and not on a coherent winning structure. And that means a small adjustment just won't cut it.
Which is what leads us to the sheer scale of this. This gigantic, rumored three-way movement. It's a desperate attempt to swap hope for some certainty.
Okay, so this brings us to the main event. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's lay out the specifics of this plan that's circulating right now, starting with what Los Angeles would actually get.
The incoming talent is specifically targeted to solve those deficits we just talked about. In the deal, the Lakers would acquire Andrew Wiggins and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Wow. Okay, so on paper, that is massive size, versatility, and an elite defensive presence injected right into the starting lineup.
Immediately. Now for the second team, the Miami Heat. In this trade, Miami would get Ja Morant, Rui Hachimura, and a future first-round pick.
That feels like the highest risk-reward play of the entire rumor.
Oh, without a doubt. And finally, the Memphis Grizzlies. They would receive Tyler Herro, Maxi Kleber, and a haul of valuable draft picks, which would let them do a full strategic reset.
This whole thing looks like a puzzle that exploded and then got taped back together, but if you connect it to the bigger picture, you realize every team has a calculated, almost desperate motivation here.
That's the crux of it. This isn't charity, it's pure self-interest. So let's analyze those motivations, starting with Miami and their truly audacious gamble on Ja Morant.
I get the Lakers' need, but Miami taking on Morant, with all his past issues, That seems like the biggest roll of the dice in the entire league. Why would the famously disciplined Heat do that?
It's a pure culture bet. I mean, the source material suggests Morant's issue isn't talent, it's his environment. He's still putting up almost 18 points and nearly 8 assists, even when things are unstable. The rumors cited internal rivalry, a competitive flame being extinguished. It all suggests a disconnect, not a talent failure.
So Miami is banking on that whole Heat culture thing,
Yeah.
believing their structure and accountability can reignite that fire.
Precisely. Miami is a structure-first organization. They demand absolute buy-in. They believe if anyone can salvage a high-ceiling player whose focus has wavered, it's them.
The reward outweighs the risk for them.
It does, especially if they can provide that strict professional framework he seems to need.
But they're also balancing that potential chaos with some consistency, right? Because they're also getting Rui Hachimura. What's his role in all this?
Hachimura is the stabilizer. He brings reliable, efficient offense. The guy is shooting nearly 47% from three and 50% overall.
Wow.
In a structured system like Miami's, he's the consistent floor spacer that offsets the, potentially chaotic nature of Morant's game. He provides that perimeter threat Miami desperately needs.
And this move also has a big financial component for Miami. Shedding Tyler Hero's contract gives them crucial cap space for the future.
It connects perfectly. Losing a homegrown talent like Hero hurts, but if it clears future money and you get a superstar talent like Morant, it's a worthwhile investment.
Okay, so let's pivot to the Grizzlies. Why would they blow up their core, even if Morant is struggling with his focus?
Because Memphis is stuck in the worst place you can be in the league. No man's land.
Purgatory.
Exactly. Their 11-13 record means they're too good to tank for a top pick, but they're obviously not good enough to actually contend.
So this forces their hand into a strategic reset.
It does. This exchange gives them a clear direction. They bring in Harrow, an immediate perimeter scorer, and more importantly, they get all those valuable picks.
Which gives them immense future flexibility.
Right. They can reorganize the whole squad without relying on an unstable superstar. They get out from under the immediate pressure and just acquire assets.
That actually seems like the most rational move of the three.
It is. And Maxi Kleber provides some valuable veteran size and floor spacing too. It just balances their roster and gives them options.
Which brings us back full circle to Los Angeles. What's the ultimate gain here, and why does the source material suggest this is the only real option for a title run?
The language is intense, isn't it? Urgent and necessary. And it's because this trade targets every single core weakness we identified earlier.
Okay, so let's talk about the acquisitions. Andrew Wiggins is a former champion, but you hear critics worry about his inconsistency. Is he really the answer for their lack of reliable effort?
That's the primary risk, for sure. The hope is that by putting him next to LeBron in a high-stakes environment where his role is clarified as a two-way wing stopper, that it solidifies his effort.
And he brings the defensive versatility and size they just don't have right now.
He does. And then there's Jaren Jackson Jr., who is, arguably the biggest get of the whole trade.
He completely transforms their defense.
Fundamentally, Jackson Jr. is an elite defensive anchor. He can generate 5 blocks per 100 possessions. That is an elite metric, the kind of rim protection the Lakers haven't seen consistently in years.
But, to play devil's advocate here, Jackson Jr. is also notoriously foul-prone. Isn't that a massive risk for a team that needs its bigs on the floor?
It's a significant drawback, you're right, and any coaching staff would have to address that immediately. However, the thinking is that the trade-off is worth it.
How so?
Even if he fouls more than you'd like, the threat of his rim protection changes how opponents attack the basket. Plus, the Lakers are gambling that a better defensive scheme around him will mitigate that issue. His Defensive Player of the Year potential is it's too great to ignore.
So this move is described as the only path that repositions them for a championship now, without completely sacrificing all of their future assets.
It's an act of necessary courage. For a team that wants to maximize LeBron's dwindling window, they can't rely on internal development or flashes anymore.
They need immediate impact.
Immediate impact and a consistent elite defensive foundation. This is the structural transplant that hits those pain points directly.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener? This rumored exchange is a huge, calculated move that responds directly to the deep cracks we've been talking about in the Lakers foundation. It's a transaction designed to replace that fleeting brilliance with a concrete defensive structure.
And this raises an important question for you to consider. The Lakers' continuous reliance on these external, incredibly complex trades to solve what appear to be internal cultural issues. That's a massive ongoing risk.
It's a great point.
I mean, while this proposal offers elite talent and a quick fix, what does it really say about a supposed championship contender when its main hope rests on reorganizing 3 separate franchises just to maintain relevance?
That structural dependency is fascinating. It really forces you to ask, is the root cause of the Lakers' fragility their roster, or is it a deeper issue within the veteran culture of the organization itself?
And you can look at the Ja Morant situation in Memphis as a perfect real-world example of how internal atmosphere can derail even the most talented rosters.
Right. And on the flip side, you have Miami's motivation, which shows how a team can use a demanding structure as its ultimate tool for success. They're betting on their system over a player's history.
We encourage you to keep monitoring how this whole conversation evolves and whether the Lakers prioritize that structural necessity over just chasing the next superstar name.
This deep dive has shown us exactly where the internal pressure points lie for all 3 of these franchises.
We'll be keeping a very close eye on the front offices as this season heats up. Until next time, stay well informed.